Hey ladies, good afternoon. So today I want to talk to you about gluten and are you gluten sensitive? Here's the deal with gluten. A lot of people are sensitive to gluten but don't realize it just because we eat it so much. So what I want you to think about is, have you had bread today or in the last few days? Have you had pizza? Have you had pasta? Okay, all of those contain gluten. Any type of grain product contains gluten. And what gluten is, it is literally a glue-like substance. It's a protein in that grain kernel that binds it all together. So think about gluten as glue that literally binds that together. Think about what flour and water make. Whenever you mix flour and water, what do you get? Paste. It's along those same lines. Think of gluten as that pasty, glue-like substance. So whenever we consume that, that's exactly how it's breaking down in your system. So some signs of gluten sensitivity: skin rashes, psoriasis, eczema, all of your digestive issues like irritable bowel, constipation, diarrhea, headaches, migraines, any type of inflammatory issue can all be triggered to gluten. So if anybody pops on, I know I'm delayed just a bit. If anybody pops on, y'all comment and let me know that you're here. But anyway, a lot of people just don't realize that they're sensitive to gluten because we eat it so much. Belly bloat, just that yucky, sour stomach feeling, just that literally that bloating, feel bad, just that thick middle. A lot of that can be contributed to gluten. And whenever people come to me and they're experiencing those type of issues, or even those type of health challenges, any type of those inflammatory health challenges, I always tell them to cut out the gluten. Now, keep in mind, this is different than celiac disease. Celiac disease is an actual diagnosed problem where you're missing an enzyme to break down that gluten. It's not like gluten sensitivity where your body just doesn't digest it very well. It's a huge difference there. But there are tons and tons of people who are gluten sensitive and you just don't realize it. So with the program, that's why, especially during detox, we cut out gluten and whole grain products, especially during detox, is to get all that out of the system. Then, with the 12-week program, we cut it out literally probably another 5 or 6 weeks. We cut out your whole grain products and any type of pastas or gluten-containing products because it is the trigger for a lot of your problems, especially a lot of your digestive issues, and you just don't realize it. I've had people's migraines clear up just by cutting out that gluten. So then we progress you, and we eliminate to begin with, and then we progress you and start adding back. And I'm telling you, if you add gluten back into your diet and after you've been not eating it for a while, you will know it. That's sour stomach feeling, that bloating, it happens a lot of times after we add gluten back. This is another trick that we've done. After you've not had gluten for a while or any type of whole grain product for a while, and then you eat it, measure your belly, your waistline before you eat gluten, before you eat that grain product, and after. That's a big determination right there too. It's because literally it's just hard to break down, and your belly bloat will immediately or very quickly return after consuming a whole grain. But there's lots of great choices. Quinoa is a great choice. You can go gluten-free. There's tons of products that are gluten-free. And I'm not saying you have to go gluten-free forever. A lot of people just can't tolerate it and they don't like it. I do not eat a lot of gluten. And I've kind of, I can pick and choose a little bit which gluten-containing products bother me more than others. And it must be the amount of gluten in the product. But there are some, I mean, no breads, I hardly can tolerate any breads simply because it gives me that bloating and that sour stomach. But there's a ton of other good options out there for you. I gave you a link on the page that goes into a little bit more detail about the gluten. It lists out those symptoms. In case you're gluten sensitive, it lists those symptoms out for you and some things to watch for. I've also got a recipe link, and it's a printable recipe that you can use almond flour instead of a whole grain, or instead of a flour, even a whole grain flour. Even whole grain's going to have gluten. Whole grain's a better choice, and we'll talk about that a little bit later, the differences in our whole grains and breads and whatnot. Whole grain is a better option, but it's still got gluten in it. I use almond flour for most of my baking. If I do any muffins or anything like that, I use almond flour a lot of times. I'll make pancakes or waffles, I use almond flour. I've also taken whole grain oats and have grinded them up. Whole grains by default is gluten-free. Another great option is oatmeal is a favorite. I eat oatmeal a lot simply because it's good, nutrient-dense carbohydrates. Remember, carbohydrates are our friends, but it doesn't contain gluten. So another great option. You can grind that up literally in your, I've used a coffee grinder and make a flour, and that can be a base for your baking needs. But that printable recipe that I've got on that I put that link on there, it uses almond flour, and almond flour is kind of a staple. I use that a lot for sweets and baking and whatnot. But if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. Let me know. But that is why the program has a purpose. The detox has a purpose. We eliminate to begin with. It's not an eliminate for the rest of your life. It's elimination to see if you have any of these sensitivities, to see if they're causing you some health challenges. It's not just about weight loss. It's about getting your health back first, and then weight loss is a side effect. As quirky as that sounds, that's the honest truth. It's more important that we get rid of your migraines or your inflammation or your eczema or your psoriasis, because I firmly believe it all traces back to the food that we're eating. So that's all we do. We eliminate first and see what's happening, and then we slowly add back and slowly progress back until you can kind of figure out if you do have some triggers. Then ultimately, the plan is to learn how to live a healthy, balanced 80-20 lifestyle where, you know what, if you go and have some birthday cake, you're okay. Guilt-free. Peppermint patties, weakness, guilt-free, okay? So that's what it's about. We eliminate first, and then we slowly progress your meal plan. We slowly progress your food list and start adding back portions at a time to see how you're going to do with it. But that's the gist of it. Please don't hesitate to let me know if you have any questions about gluten. Let me know if you've experienced any of these symptoms before, because they're very common, and I bet you have, and you just didn't know it because we eat it so much. But I'm enjoying it, ladies. Detox day number 1 for some of you. Let me know if you've already detoxed, how you're doing without detox. Remember, detox, if you're only going to detox for 7 days and then go back to the way you're eating, we're no different than any other short-term quickie. Okay, we want to progress you, and we want to learn how to live a healthy lifestyle and learn how to eat healthy and learn how to make healthy choices. So let me know. Reach out if you have any questions, and I will talk to you again soon.